At an hour and 35 minutes, this is the longest interview that the Texas Rangers does with serial killer Israel Keyes. Our three-part series, Israel Keyes' Life in Full Detail, is now available exclusively from Crime Culture Media on crimecult.com. So his first interview, that was like 17 minutes long, took place in Lufkin, Texas, the day he was arrested. Then he's transported that same day to a federal facility in Beaumont, Texas. Then a few days after he arrives there, he does this interview. The Texas Rangers, man, listening to these gave me such a new respect for them. I always thought they were cool, but like I never really listened to them talk or like watch footage of them arrest somebody or hear a prolonged like interrogation that they've done with somebody. And this was just so great to hear them work. Two Rangers run this interrogation: Stephen Rayburn, who you see in the arrest footage, and then Texas Ranger Kevin Pullen. It seems like he is an incredibly seasoned ranger and he has had just years of experience. Not that Rayburn doesn't. He's freaking awesome. But it just seems like Pullen doesn't do interviews anymore. He came out specifically for this because he thought this is like a huge deal. It is fascinating to hear because unlike the FBI interviews, Keyes hasn't admitted to doing anything yet. Well, he admits to the access device fraud, but you see him here in a new light. You hear him discover that Anchorage has done a press release. You hear his disappointment when he realizes his name is attached to the kidnapping of Samantha Koenig. And at this point, he's not admitting anything, so they're not even sure if she is alive or not. What I find most fascinating about this is hearing Keyes lie. Because with the FBI interviews, there are moments where we assume he's lying about things, but we don't actually know. In this, we actually know for a fact he is lying. Like, he says that the whole reason that he even had her card and her phone and all that to begin with was because someone threw it in his truck. I don't know if any of you have seen Lincoln Lawyer, not the TV series, but the movie. This movie is phenomenal. I love this movie with Matthew McConaughey and Michael Pena. And there's a moment when Pena's character, Jesus Martinez, is being accused of homicide. He loses it. He is very adamant. I did not do this. I did not do this. I'm innocent. He's up, standing around, pacing, extremely upset, very nervous, like anyone would be if they were being wrongly accused of something. He's the opposite. It's like he's not even trying to pretend. There was even a moment where he's like, whatever, I did it. And when asked about Koenig, they actually have the ransom photo and they show it to him. And he's like, I don't want to look at that. He never is like, oh my God, that's awful. I don't want to look at that. He goes, I don't want to look at that anymore. Annoyed. And he never says, I didn't do this. He says, I don't want to talk about this. Keyes also tries some gotcha tactics that are stupid and don't work. They show him the ransom photo and they're like, the corner of this is cut off. And it's cut off right where the brand on your arm is. And Keyes is like, well, lots of people have tattoos. And the Rangers are so great. I love them. They're like, yeah, you're right. A lot of people do have tattoos, but not a lot of people have tattoos who also have her cell phone and her boyfriend's debit card, who are driving the car seen in the ATM footage, who are from Alaska, who have the clothes that the perpetrator was wearing when he took money out from the stolen debit card. Yeah, not a lot of people have that. And I love their Texas accents. I don't know if I'm doing it justice or whatever, but I find them very endearing and it adds a lot of character for sure. I thought it was fascinating that they have him read a section of his daughter's journal, talking about feeding moose together in Alaska. And then at the end, they show him the ransom photo and they're like, how would you feel if this was your kid? This is the last interview that he does in Texas, and then the following week or so, he gets transported back to Alaska. The footage that I'm going to play with the interview is from Keyes being held at the Lufkin Police Department right after he was arrested. So there was 3 hours of that, and then for the actual audio interviews at Lufkin and in Beaumont, it was just audio. So for the purposes of having visuals to look at, I'm going to be playing that for you, but it's not going to like line up or anything. Anyway, I don't want to go on too long. There's a lot that I could say about this interview, but this is the first time that it has ever been released. Please comment below and let me know what you think, and make sure you share it with your true crime friends. And without further ado, here is Key's interview with the Texas Rangers.
I'm Steve Rayburn with the Texas Rangers. It's Saturday, March 17th, 2012, 11:05 p.m. Everybody in the ring, please state their names.
John McElroy, the Assistant Federal Defender with the Eastern District of Texas. I'm Mr. Israel Key's attorney.
Israel Keys.
Kevin Pullen, Lieutenant Texas Rangers, Huntsville.
Israel, you know, I've talked to you a couple times before. I do want to talk to you about why you're in jail right now. And because you're in custody, just like before, we can't talk to you or visit about this unless you waive your rights. And so I have to read your Miranda rights. You understand?
Yep.
Okay. Before you're asked any questions, it's my duty to advise you of your rights and to warn you of the consequences of waiving these rights. You have the right to remain silent, not to make any statement at all, and any statement you make may be used against you at your trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Any oral or written statement you make may be used as evidence against you in court. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. You have the right to have a lawyer present to advise you before and during the questioning by peace officers or attorneys representing the state. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And if you're too poor to hire a lawyer, you have the right to have a lawyer appointed by the court to advise you before and during any questioning. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to terminate an interview at any time. You understand that?
Yes.
Are you willing to waive those so that we can visit about what we need to visit about?
Yes.
Okay.
If y'all don't mind, Israel, I don't know anything about you. Could you help me get to know you a little bit before we start talking? What do you do for a living?
You haven't read anything about me.
This is my lieutenant that's out of Huntsville, and he's not been directly involved in this investigation, and I've not submitted any reports to him. Okay? Obviously, I've come to know you pretty good by reading about you and studying you and, you know, searching the car that you were in and reading the reports, and I've been talking every day with Mickey, the lead detective over in Anchorage. She knows that I'm here. They've already flown back to Anchorage. They come down here to talk to you. You chose not to talk, and they had to go back and keep working. And myself and Agent Ganaway have been keeping working here. We went through the car this morning and found all kinds of stuff. But instead of going directly into the crime that you're accused of and things like that, if you could just visit with myself and my lieutenant, and so we can learn more about you from your perspective, I'd appreciate it. Can't hurt nothing.
Where you want me to start?
Wherever you want to. Let's just communicate here. Let's just talk. They got coffee and you got time and I got time. You got time?
I'm good.
Mr. McElroy?
I'm good.
We'll be here as long as you want us here, but we want to know who you are.
You've already read a lot about me.
Well, I've read what other people have written about you, and I've read blogs, and I've looked on the internet, but I haven't heard from your
What's
perspective.
on me about it? What's on the internet about me?
This is a pretty big deal.
What? So my name's out there now, attached to this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anchorage did a press release.
Who? When?
Anchorage PD a couple days ago. Israel, I hadn't lied to you at all. I'm shooting you straight up. If you want to know something, you ask me. I'll tell you if I know the answer. If I don't know the answer, I'll text somebody and find out. Okay? All I can.
That's just.
I told you, I'm just a truth seeker here. But we want to know who you are from your perspective. I just don't believe what people tell me. You know.
I don't know who's telling you anything. I've never had anybody say anything bad about me that I know of.
And you know what? I haven't read in the blogs where anybody's saying anything bad about you. They call you a loner. They say you're good. They say you're good at your job. They say you're an excellent father to Laney.
Well, that's really all there is to say anyway. So,
Well, what do you do? What is your trade?
I'm a carpenter.
What? Framing, trim work? I don't know. Which one?
Everything.
Really?
Mostly residential.
What do you like the best in that trade?
I like interior carpentry. It's mostly what I've been doing the last couple of years.
Like the cabinetry or trim work or what?
Floors, yeah, everything.
Wood floors, tile floors?
Yeah.
It's a little warmer on the interior too than it is on the exterior in Alaska.
Makes it easier in the winter, that's for sure.
Kind of an artist with your work?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
I like my work. If you like what you do, it's not work, right?
Exactly. Do you stay busy?
Last couple of years, yeah.
Really?
Who taught you how to do all that stuff?
I started when I was, 17. And been doing it off and on ever since. Mostly self-taught, I guess. But no, I did have people who taught me when I was, really young, like the basics and stuff.
Who taught you?
A guy named Kelly Harrison in Washington.
Friend of yours or relative?
He was a friend involved in the church we were in at the time. So.
How did you get hooked up with him doing work?
It was through the church thing. Yeah.
Doing it for people that went to the church or belonged to
No.
the church or just?
No, he did it for a living.
What'd you do?
He hired 5 or 6. He had 5 or 6 guys working for him.
What did you start out doing with them? What was your first construction? Hey boy,
Yep. Low guy on the totem pole.
you've been there. I do understand from talking to Steve that you were homeschooled and you have numerous brothers and sisters.
Yep.
You're one of 9 or 10 or more?
10.
10. How many brothers, how many sisters?
I have 3 brothers.
3 brothers. Are you the oldest, youngest?
Oldest
Oldest.
brother.
And you were raised in Alaska or down over here?
No, I was raised mostly in Washington.
Washington. Homeschooled, I understand. Who was your parents? Did the homeschooling? Parent or parents?
Both, I guess.
Both. What did you think about that?
It's the only thing I ever knew.
How does that work up there? Is kind of similar to Texas. You've got the study guides, and then you go back to the public schools to test. You test at home.
There was no testing.
No proficiency you had to do. No.
So did you get a diploma of any kind?
Well, before I went in the Army, I got a GED, but I didn't. There was never any official curriculum or testing for our homeschool.
What year did you go in?
Up to the
excuse me.
table, you might say.
Yeah.
What year did you go in the Army?
It was either 99 or 2000, I don't remember. 90, had to be 99 or 98, I don't know.
How did that happen?
How to go in the Army?
Mm-hmm.
I got tired of living on the farm.
Well, I mean, did you see a commercial on TV, or
No, I'd always wanted to go in the Army.
what attracted you to the Army?
I'd read World War II books from the time I could read and thought it was all so great and wanted to go.
How long did you
All that
serve?
stuff. Just 3 years.
3 years. Whereabouts did you serve?
I was stationed in Fort Lewis, Washington. I did training missions down here in Fort Hood and Fort Irwin in California, and 6 months in Egypt. That was pretty much it.
What made you leave the Army?
I had a kid on the way.
That'll do it.
Yep. Infantry and kids don't mix.
You couldn't have changed jobs in the Army and stayed in?
Maybe I could have. I don't know. I didn't really try that hard.
Learned your own kid?
Yep.
From what I understand, talking to folks that's talked to her, she's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
And she goes to public school.
Yep.
What grade did you say she was in?
4th.
Does she write journals because she wants to, or is that something that she does on her own? Is that a part of a school assignment?
Not really.
She just does it because she enjoys it?
Yeah. She, needs a little coaxing.
You encourage her to write in the journal?
Yeah. Her teacher does too.
What's her teacher think about her?
Teacher's pet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's she want to do? What does she want to do when she gets out of school?
When Lainey gets out of school,
Mhm.
I don't know if she thinks that far ahead.
I know a lot of girls want to be nurses and teachers.
Yeah, I don't know. She talks about a lot of different stuff, but
Yeah, she does. Does she like living in Alaska?
yeah.
I know she likes animals.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked to. I haven't personally talked to Lainey, but I mean, they've shared with me. Other investigators have about her journals and her poems that she puts in her journals and things like that. I did bring a part of her journal I wanted you to look at, if you wouldn't mind. It's something she wrote in her journal. Can I show it to you?
You took her journal from her?
No, we got a search warrant on the car, and there was a journal in the car. This ain't got nothing to do with the crime that you're accused of. It's just something that I want you to see. If I can find it, hang on a second. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but I thought you might enjoy it. Can you read that? Would you mind?
Yeah, I remember that.
You can't just, kid can't have a day like that anywhere except Alaska. They don't have news that runs around in Texas.
Yeah.
I also brought you something that you're welcome to keep. You can have both of them if you want them.
If they'll let you have
If not, we'll put them in your property.
That's fine. Either way.
them. Israel, I've always looked at things the way we don't always do things the right way. By the rules you're raised with, by society's rules. You can tell your own story, or you can let somebody else tell it. If somebody else tells your story, they're not going to get it right. And right now, I think we're kind of in that. I noticed you were shocked when Steve mentioned about the press release. I would be too. I wish I knew more about you before we came over here, just so I'd be able to communicate with you better. But it is what it is. That's the hand we're dealt tonight. I don't know what's in the press release in Alaska, and I don't care.
That's because it's not you in it.
And you're right. I didn't know until Steve said something that they had made a press release. So I'm here. I drove several hours tonight to get here, and I'm here as long as you want to talk to us and visit with us. I think it's best that you tell the story, not for anybody else, but for Israel. I think that is some questions need to be answered. If the press release doesn't have all the facts, sometimes the evidence doesn't tell the whole story. It just tells this, and this. It doesn't tell all the facts, and that's not fair to you. It's not fair for anybody that reads that press release. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I haven't seen it, so.
Well, I don't either, but I can you imagine that if only one side is telling the story?
It doesn't matter what the story is. I've been following the story from day one, and some of the things people say have nothing to do with what the facts is.
Can you help us with what your perspective is on that? You said you don't know what the facts are, or they don't know what the facts are. Can you help us with that?
Oh, I have a perspective on it. I honestly didn't think I'd be up this close and personal. My opinion about what's going on doesn't matter because, I mean, like I say, honestly, I thought I was going to be talking to the detectives from Anchorage, or that they would at least be here tonight, because they're the only ones who gave me any insight into what might actually be going on. And I don't even know if that was real, what they showed me. So,
What did they show you?
she showed me some kind of, it looked like a ransom note or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have it. Do you want to look at it again?
No.
Go ahead.
Do you want to look at what was on the other side of that ransom note?
I don't want to know anything about any of this.
Well, here's all I know. I saw something on the news several weeks ago about a kidnapping. That's the last I heard of it. And about a week ago, the FBI office out of Bryan, Texas, I was talking to them about another matter, and they had mentioned about a debit card that was being used along Highway 59. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you told me about your life, and I'm going to tell you about this. This is what I know, okay? And I asked the agent to send me the information, and I looked at it, and I said, hey, we need to look into this right now. I called Steve. He's one of the 10 Rangers I oversee. I said, get on this and see what you can find out. From that point forward, I have kept up with this and the circumstances related to this investigation. So I do know it's not like I'm coming in here and don't have any idea. I don't know much about you, but I do know about this investigation now. And I just want to visit with you about it. I want to know how you want to visit, if you want to visit. I think it's to your benefit to clear the air. If things seem one-sided based on the evidence that's been presented, I would like you to have that opportunity. I didn't have to come over here. It's not my job. My job is to sit at the house and call Steve or call someone else. But I just wanted to hear it from you. I haven't been in an interview room with anybody in over 5 years. That's not my job. Something about this, I wanted to come over here. I told Steve when he called me, I said, I'd like to go.
Well, I mean, there are some things that I did, obviously, caught red-handed. Not, and that's mostly what I came in here to talk about, was the credit card or debit card or whatever it was.
Well, feel free.
And I don't. There's some things I've only seen the complaint or whatever that has me in here a couple times. There's some things on it I don't agree with.
Well, let's get it out. Let's get it open.
No, it's pretty simple. I mean, I didn't use that card until I was down here. I never used it
Okay.
when I was in Alaska.
Okay. Do you know who did?
No.
No. Okay.
And that bag that the cell phone was in, I'm sure you guys found that, the cell phone in my gun case. At least I think that's where it was. That Ziploc bag is, the card was in there too. And I don't remember what happened to it, but there was a piece of tape, like blue painter's tape, on the front of the card. And I don't remember, I remember the gist of it. Had like some notes on it, but the one thing that was obvious, it had where the number was scratched on the card, it had an arrow pointing to it that said PIN. And that's mostly what I wanted to talk to the Anchorage detectives about, because that whoever made sure I got that bag is in Anchorage. That's where I got it. And if that piece of tape, when I took it off the card, I folded it in half, like the sticky sides together or whatever. So if it's not in that bag, that's what I was going to tell them, is it might be in my truck. There's a box behind the seat that I throw garbage in, and it might be in that.
Where did you get the bag?
It was in my truck.
Okay. You see where you've gotten in a position here, Israel? You've got the phone.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. How can... I'm here to help you. I'm here to offer you the opportunity to help yourself.
You're not here to help me.
I'm telling you, I don't interview people. There's something about this case that doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense.
Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. And that's, I'm sure you already did everything, whatever fingerprint, the bag or the phone, or I never even turned the phone on. I didn't recognize the name on the card. I do have a lot of clients, but I still didn't recognize the name. I thought maybe
The name on the card you didn't
the
recognize?
name on the card, yeah. I'd never heard it before. It was just a day or two before I was coming down here,
That one?
and I didn't really think too much about it, but I did throw it. I threw it in my bag,
You said it was in your truck? The bag, the phone, the card,
It was all in the bag.
all, that clear
In that
plastic
same
baggie?
Ziploc bag.
Okay. Where was it in your truck?
It was on either the seat or the floorboards.
Which one?
I don't remember. I think it was on the seat. And I remembered, well, first of all, obviously a little weird, but my truck, I remember, was locked, and but I always have in the wintertime, I smoke cigars out in my truck, and I leave the driver's side window down about that much, and it was down. And so it looked like someone might have just tossed it in. And there was some weird, I don't know, like 20/20 hindsight, there was weird stuff happening around the house, and I didn't think anything of it at the time. I even mentioned it to Kimberly that there were some people. I was out, I was walking back from school after walking Laney to school, and there was somebody in the driveway who I didn't recognize, and I'm really paranoid because I have lots of tools in my work trailer, so I'm always paranoid, like especially the neighbor kids, that they're going to try and run off with some or something. And
Can you describe the people that were in your driveway?
no, it was really cold out. Whoever it was, they were all bundled up, and I didn't really think much of it. I thought maybe they had lost a dog. I mean, that stuff happens all the time. People walk dogs. But they were standing by my trailer, and then they saw me coming around the corner about 200 yards away, and they kind of walked out of the driveway and then down the road. And it's a dead-end road, and I never saw them again, so I assumed they were a neighbor, but I don't know that they were a neighbor.
In relation to when you found the bag in your truck, just
I don't remember.
approximately.
Yeah, I don't remember when. I remember it was after I got back from Texas last time.
When was that?
I got back into. I did change my tickets. I think I got back into Anchorage on the 17th, maybe. I think originally it was supposed to be the 14th or something.
Now, from the time, do you know about what day it was when you found that in your truck?
Well, like I say, it was about 2 days. I flew out on the 5th. I flew out on the 5th on. Was it early? Yeah, it was early morning. And I was sitting all day in Seattle, so it was the morning before that, early morning when I went out to smoke.
So on the 4th?
The 4th.
Give or take, or pretty sure it was the 4th?
It had, well, it was the 3rd at the, no, it was the 4th.
It was the 4th
Yeah,
of February?
because I was already packing.
Okay. So on the 4th of February, you found that baggie in your truck. And you think it was on the seat?
No, it was on the seat.
It was on the seat, okay.
Yeah.
And you were flying out on the 5th to where?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, okay. And what did you do with the card? Did you take it with you to Vegas, leave it in your truck, or what?
No, it was, like I say, I threw it in my bag.
The bag that you took with you?
I took the card out of the, I was sitting in the truck, I took the card out of the bag, I took the tape off. But then I put the card back in the bag, and I put the whole bag in my suitcase.
Okay.
I went to Vegas. We had a hotel room. I had the guns in my case. I took the guns out of the case. I put them in the hotel safe at the Riviera. I took the phone, their whole bag, and stuck it in the safe. I don't know why I stuck it in the safe, but the next morning, I lost quite a bit of money that night on the slots, probably like $300 or $400. which I, wasn't terrible. I had planned on losing maybe 100 or 200, but I still had money, and I took the guns out of the safe the next morning, put them back in my case, and I took the card out of the bag and I stuck it in my wallet, and I took the phone, and there was the chip, there was the SD card in with the phone, and for some reason I was thinking I could get a new card. I was afraid, I don't know, I was super paranoid
About what?
about turning the phone on or putting the card in or whatever, because I didn't trust the whole situation. So I was thinking I could get a new SD card or something, or sell the phone to somebody, or just dump it somewhere. I don't know what I was thinking.
Did you have a phone?
Yeah.
Why would you need a card for that phone? If you had a phone.
No, I was thinking just getting rid of the phone. The one that was in the bag.
Okay. Let's move. So now we're on the 6th, right?
No.
You flew out on the
This will be
5th?
the 7th.
Okay, you're there for 2 days in Vegas.
No. We were stranded in Seattle for 14 hours. We got to Vegas we picked up the car on the 7th. I'm pretty sure it was the 7th.
When you say we, who's?
Laney.
Okay. So the layover in Washington
Yeah.
might have put you a day up at the 7th?
I guess. I don't remember it. Seems like I'm missing a day somewhere. No, but we only stayed one night in Vegas, so whatever day it was. No, I'm pretty sure it was the 7th.
What hotel were you?
Huh?
What hotel?
Riviera.
Riviera. Okay. So then what happened? You've got the card now is in your wallet,
Yeah.
and the phone still
I stuck it in the gun case.
in the gun case.
Yeah. I don't know why I threw it in there. It was just, like I say, it was in the safe. And the little chip thing, I was going to toss it, and then for some reason I was thinking, well, I might not be able to get another chip for it or something, and I stuck it in the CD case or something. But I almost threw it away. I don't know. Like I say, I was thinking I would just throw the whole phone away, but I don't know. I hadn't decided what to do with any of it yet. And then we went and got the car. We got a cab from the hotel and went and got the car. And I think we headed straight out of Vegas after that.
2.
Well, I was heading down towards Hoover Dam,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where like all the main routes to get to Texas were. There was like I-40, and there was I-10, and I don't know, like there's only a couple different ways to go. So we started heading out of Vegas, and I started thinking that, like maybe I had the card, and I guess I was just curious, and I was like wondering if there was actually any money on it, and I was trying to think of a way I could find out without, because I knew something was fishy about it. I didn't. So I was just trying to figure out a way to find out without, like leaving a paper trail or whatever.
So did you use the card in Vegas?
No,
Did you try?
no.
Okay.
No, I stopped not far, like right on the outskirts of Vegas. There's a big Walmart. I think it's in a place called Henderson. The receipt might have even been in the car somewhere. I don't know. But we stopped at that Walmart, and I got a bunch of stuff. I got, like snacks and stuff for the road, and I also picked up a bunch of stuff, like thinking in the back of my mind that I might try and, like put on a disguise and see if there was any money on the card. And so I bought some gloves and, well, you guys know what was in there. I bought gloves and a t-shirt and some glasses. And
What else did you buy?
I already had the sweatshirt. I don't know where I got that sweatshirt. It was way too big. Yeah, I think that was it. Just like gloves and a t-shirt.
How long have you had the sweatshirt?
I think that sweatshirt I must have brought from the house. I don't normally wear sweatshirts, so. But no, it was in my big bag where the gun case was, and I think it was in the basement. I was cleaning up at the house, and there were just like a bunch of clothes around, and I think I just threw some stuff in there, like around the gun case. I think that's where that sweatshirt came from, because I don't think I've ever worn it before.
So then what happened? Did you pay for that stuff with that card or your own money?
No, I didn't use that card at all.
Okay.
I was super paranoid. I didn't want to use that card anywhere.
Was that card making you miserable? That card and that phone, was that causing you grief?
I wouldn't say it was making me miserable. I was just really paranoid about it, but at the same time I was thinking, the thing on the card said something to the effect of, like, for some of the money I owe you, or something really fishy like that. And it sounds stupid, but I have had a lot of clients over the years who didn't pay me. And so I think in the back of my head I was thinking, well, gee, maybe this is like a present from a client, even though I knew that wasn't the case. I mean, I think I knew. I don't know. Whatever. I did it.
All right, so the 7th, you bought stuff at Walmart.
Yeah.
We're talking about March, right? Or is it February?
No, this is just, like a few days ago.
Okay.
So March 4th, is that when you're saying that was in your car?
Yeah.
And the 5th you fly out to go to Vegas. You lose a bunch of hours in Washington.
I'm trying to remember if it was the 5th or... Yeah, I don't know. It was one of those red-eye flights, so... Can't remember if it was like early morning of the 6th or early morning of the 5th. Yeah, but we got... Anyway, there was an 11-hour layover in Seattle, and then our flight got delayed for another 4 hours or something like that, so we were there for a while. The itinerary was in the car. I'm sure you guys probably found it.
So you leave Vegas, or you leave outside of Vegas from the Walmart. You head, take I-10?
South, I don't know. No, we stopped at Hoover Dam for a while. There's pictures on that camera that was in the car.
Did you overnight anywhere else between Vegas and...
No, I drove straight through. Like an hour and a half I slept somewhere. I don't even remember where.
And who was with you?
Lane.
Like,
Yeah.
and you get to Houston. Do you remember what date or day that you get to Houston area?
Or where did you go?
What do you mean?
Where did you go when you woke up from your? You said you slept. What happened next?
Oh, I don't remember where it was. It wasn't far. I think we only had about 6 hours to go. 6 hours of driving to go, and I was too tired, so I just stopped. Slept for like an hour and a half. And no, at that point, I had already used that card, or tried to use it. I don't know. I was really tired. Like the second or third time I tried to use it, I think. So I don't even remember where it was. But,
How many times did you try to use it?
I don't remember. That first night, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Did you try to use them to make purchases or
No.
ATM?
Yeah.
Were you ever successful?
Yeah, no, I did. I got some money out. And it said there was, I think the first or the second time I used it, it said there was like $2,000 or $3,000 on it. So I was thinking I would just,
Israel, I know a lot of times when things happen repeatedly or do something a whole lot, sometimes it's hard to remember every time, but generally people can remember the first time and the last time that they did something. They may not be able to remember all of it, Can you tell me about the first time? I mean, surely you got to remember the first time
Oh, yeah.
that you tried to use it. Can we talk about just the first time?
yeah.
Can you describe that to me about where you were and how that happened?
It was at a bank.
Okay.
And I was really nervous, and there was nobody around, but I was still really paranoid or whatever. And I can remember thinking after there was something that went wrong at the ATM. Like it didn't work the first time, and I almost just turned around and walked away. And then I think I put in like a lower amount or something and tried again, and it worked. And
When was the first time that you tried to use it?
I just told you.
You said it was at a bank.
Yeah, on the drive from Vegas.
How many days did it take you to drive from Vegas?
It's a 20, I think it was supposed to be like a 22 or a 23-hour drive. So that would have been about, it was late. It probably would have been about 12 hours into the drive. I don't know.
And
Halfway there, maybe.
where was the bank located at?
In a little town, I don't know, somewhere off the freeway.
Can you tell me what state?
No. Well, I think in the paper you had it said Arizona, which sounds right. I don't know.
In the paper I had.
Yeah, the criminal complaint against.
Oh, in the complaint.
I think it said Arizona. It seemed like it was New Mexico to me, but I don't know. Because it seemed like I was in Texas not long after that, but I don't know.
Where was Laney at during this attempt?
She was asleep in the back of the car.
Okay. What kind of car were you in?
You know what kind of car I was in?
Well, I mean, I know what, I think I do, but you tell me. Were you in that car?
Yeah.
That same car?
Yeah.
Okay. Same license plate and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. And Laney was with you, but she was asleep in the back seat?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think she was asleep.
What were you wearing?
You got the video.
Yeah, but I want to hear it from you.
I already described what my whole get-up was, like my whole plan, and I remember thinking after I got in the car, I was like, oh man, I forgot to put on my disguise or something. I don't remember what I was thinking. I remember thinking I was Like if it was a stolen card, I remember thinking I was busted because I thought I had forgot to put on my mask or my glasses. It was really late and I was already getting tired, and I remember thinking I screwed up or something.
Were you intoxicated or anything?
No, I wasn't.
Because you told me, I guess on the day we picked you up, you told me you'd never been in trouble with the police except for shoplifting, but you have a DUI.
DUI, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Your truck that you spoke of, is that your work truck?
Yeah,
You said it have a trailer that has tools in it?
yeah.
Excuse me. You keep both of those at the house?
Yeah.
They're hooked up?
Well, not all the time, but most of the time they're there.
Does anybody else, who do you work? Do you work with other people, or you pretty much work by yourself?
No, but I work by myself. No, I do work with other people sometimes. I've hired on other people on big jobs, but for the most part, it's just me.
Just you.
I'm only licensed to work with just me. Let's put it that way.
License is a lot more strict up there, I guess, than down here for residential construction.
I don't know. I have to have,
You have to have a list of everybody.
I'm just saying, technically, to have anyone work for you, you have to have workman's comp, and it has to be listed on your business plan and all that. And I'm not supposed to have people work for me, but I do hire like day labor sometimes.
Sell them out, sub stuff. Okay. Who all drives your truck?
Only me.
Just you.
I don't trust anyone else.
Anybody ever? You ever come home and notice it's not where it's supposed to be, or maybe somebody used it, or anybody ever stolen your truck?
No.
No. Do you live by yourself?
No.
Who you live with?
Her name's Kimberly Anderson.
In Laney.
And Lee.
Does Kimberly have a key to your truck?
Yes.
Does she drive it?
No. Well, she has very rarely.
She doesn't like to drive a big truck.
No.
Does she have her own vehicle?
Yes.
What does she have?
She has a Nissan Xterra,
What color is it?
silver.
And what kind of truck do you have?
A white Chevy Silverado 2500.
You got like a sign on the side of it
Yeah.
for your business?
Well, I have my number, and I mean, it's got like big toolboxes on the back and a lumber rack, and it's got my number. And anytime I have my trailer, there's like a really big sign on the back of the trailer. So, I mean, a lot of people around town know me. I've been working there for a while, so.
How long have you been working up there?
5 years.
5 years. How many sets of keys do you have to your truck?
I have one set,
One set.
and there's an extra key underneath the truck.
One of those magnetic things?
No, it's wired to the frame somewhere. I don't even remember where at this point, but there's one under there
In
somewhere.
case you lock yourself out?
Right.
Anybody else know that's under there?
I don't know how.
You don't know how, or
I don't know how they would.
you're discreet about it if you ever...
I never told anyone, and the only way anyone would know is if they were crawling around under there. So
Does that key, this is a Chevy, so does that key unlock just the doors, or does that also start the engine?
it's just a key. I mean, it'll do everything.
It does the doors and the ignition?
It's not electronic. It doesn't have the chip in it.
It's a one key for both?
Right.
Okay.
And what kind of car does your girlfriend or your housemate?
Nissan Xterra.
Oh, little SUV with compact, four-wheel drive?
Yeah.
Yeah,
In Alaska?
have to be.
Yeah. They got like moose in their backyard.
And it's what
eating
color?
Celery.
Silver.
Silver. Okay, and yours is white, hers is silver.
Do you drive hers? I know I drive my wife's.
I do, but I mean, if she's home, she works longer hours than me. So.
But when y'all go out to eat, you and Laney and her go somewhere, do y'all take your truck or do you take her car, her exterior?
Usually hers.
Do you drive or does she drive? when y'all?
Either or, 50-50.
Do you have keys to hers?
Yes.
Do you pay for insurance for hers and yours, or do y'all keep like separate?
It's separate.
Now let me ask you, I understand the card. I understand that there was some curiosity, you're not sure why it was there, maybe somebody wanted you to have some money that they owed you from prior
I
construction.
never believed that, but yeah, we'll go with that.
But it was an option.
Right.
Made you feel better about you.
Right.
But the phone was making you nervous. I think you had said.
Both of them were making me nervous. The phone was making me nervous because I knew if I turned it on, I might learn more about where the card came from, and the card was making me nervous because I knew if I used it and it was stolen, then it would be pretty much just like I stole it. Even so, yeah, they were both making me nervous.
And was the SIM card in the phone when you found it in
No.
your truck? You took it out.
No, it was all in the bag. It was all taken apart.
So the SIM card was out of the phone in the bag.
In the bag.
Okay. Was the battery in the phone?
No, it was
all taken apart.
It should. I mean, yeah. With the exception of the little card, it was. I didn't mess with the phone. Should have been just like it was when you guys found it in the gun case.
You know, depending on where you are, whether you're in a rural area or in a metropolitan area, on the average, this was like 5 years ago, on the average, a study was done that we're on video camera 8 times a day. And that, of course, that's going to, if you're in a metropolitan area, it's going to be many more times.
Right.
Versus a rural area. I'm sure that technology with traffic cameras, red light cameras, along the interstates where they're monitoring traffic, I'm sure it's increased. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm trying to figure out some things that I just can't come up with the answer. And I think it would help you if we could figure out the answer. We can change a press release, possibly remove some doubts in people's mind, family, friends. Because right now we're looking real good. We leave Washington 4th or 5th, maybe the 6th, depending on how long you laid over. Well, it would be the 5th or the 6th. And go to Vegas, lose $300. You did pretty good if you only lost $300. You go to Hoover Dam, somewhere in Arizona, you think, possibly a small town, you stopped.
I don't know. I wouldn't have known if I hadn't seen it on that paper.
About,
I'd take the paper's word for it.
I think your words were halfway, somewhere around halfway.
Right.
Okay. So
12 hours.
12 hours into it, somewhere between 11 and 12 hours into it. Did you take that nap before or after you used that?
After.
After.
I was, like I say, I was 6 hours out when I took a nap.
After
6 hours?
after you use the cord?
I was 6 hours out from here, or from Wells.
From Wells. So Wells is what, 3 hours, 3.5 hours from Houston?
Yeah. No. 2.5 maybe.
2.5. So you must have been in the Houston area.
No,
No,
I
you
was outside. I don't know how far.
Okay.
I think I wasn't keeping really close track. I was going by the timer on the dash, how many hours it had said I had drove. I think it said I had driven, I don't know, like 16 or 17 hours. And that's when I stopped.
Do you have a GPS, is that what you said?
No.
No. Where did you park when you used the ATM card?
The first time?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, let's start with the first time.
So you guys got a good picture of it. It was right by the thing. It was funny too because as I was leaving, I saw that camera and I was like, "Oh crap!"
You,
But I was thinking that they didn't work at night or something.
So where'd you park?
Stupid. Right behind the bank.
behind the bank? Was it a drive-up ATM, or was it?
Yeah, but I didn't drive up. I
You
parked.
walked up.
I was thinking that if I parked far enough away from the bank, that if there were any cameras, that they wouldn't see the car. I don't know.
Now, when did you first hear, you said you had followed this case, or you knew something about
Yeah.
this young lady's abduction?
No, I read the Anchorage news all the time, especially when we're out of town.
And forgive me, but I took you forward from there. You said you had some ideas about this thing, and
Well, I don't know. I read all the stories, let's put it that way.
was there... She's 18-year-old.
Yeah.
She have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Was his name, was he ever a suspect? Or a person of interest, a person of interest?
Honestly, my whole impression of this whole thing has been that there hasn't been any new news on it, at least in the media, since the first week.
Mm-hmm.
I've read all the stories since then, but there hasn't been any. I haven't read anything that I was like, oh wow, this is something new. It was pretty much like the same thing over and over. I still read everything, I just wasn't.
What all, how did you read it? Do you get the physical newspaper or do you read it on the online?
I read it all online.
What news outlets are there up there that follow this thing?
There's a lot of news up there. It's not all that good, but there's 2 or 3 that are pretty good.
TV channels or newspapers? I've never
There's
been to a lab.
there's 2 TV channels that cover the news pretty well, and then there's the newspaper, the ADN, Anchorage Daily News, I guess.
So there's one newspaper and a couple of...
There's more than one newspaper, but yeah, that's the only one that has all the big
Would
current
you say that this girl's disappearance is a big story in Anchorage, Alaska?
biggest one I've ever read about since I was up there.
Did you get any ideas when you were reading about what might have happened to her? Did you have any ideas from reading all the stories?
No.
I mean, did you form any conclusions, or do you have an idea what might have happened to her?
I know what I read. I mean, they were pretty clear about what they thought had happened. And like I say, the theory never really changed. If you read everybody's opinion on what happened, then there are lots of other theories. But as far as the police and the media was concerned, their reporting never changed on it as far as what they thought happened.
Now, when you're talking about hearing everybody's opinion, how did you know what everybody's opinion was?
Comments, like comment bulletins.
On
It's a lot more entertaining than the news story.
on the online?
Yeah.
Did you ever make any comments?
I think I may have commented. I don't really comment much anymore. I used to comment a lot, and then I realized that only the biggest assholes make comments on the news stories up there, so I quit commenting because it's like beating your head against a brick wall. So, but I think I did maybe comment once or twice.
What did you say?
I don't remember. It was early. It was a while ago. It was shortly after it came out, and since then I've checked for updates, and I don't really spend as much time reading about it. So,
Do you remember what news outlet it was that you commented on?
it was on. It would have been on ADN.
And how many times did you comment?
Like I say, maybe once or twice. I don't know.
Do you have a name that you go under when you comment, or do you go under your name?
IZIT.
IZIT?
That's my screen name.
That's your screen name.
Yeah.
Do you ever comment under Israel?
No.
Never?
I don't even remember setting that thing up. It just asked for a name, and I just typed that in, and then it just started posting my comments. So I never got that into it, but there were a couple stories on, mostly, like I say, in the past that I got in pretty heated debates with people on, and yeah, that was my screen name.
Did you see on a humorous note, did you see the story about the guy, you'll find this interesting, about the guy that owned the strip club where dancers dance nude, and
They do that?
in Alaska, and the guy that owned the club was going to award his business for anyone that had information about the disappearance of this girl. And he gave him 10 days. If somebody come up with a clue that led to this girl, he was going to give away his dance hall, his strip club.
I thought that was kind of weird.
Did you comment on that?
No.
But you followed the story.
Yes.
And for how long? Till
I don't remember when the last time I
during your trip?
checked. I don't think I checked on it on this trip. I'm sure I checked this. I wasn't checking specifically on that story anymore. I mean, I was just checking news headlines or whatever. So I probably checked. I don't know. Checked the news before I left. I don't remember exactly.
Did you ever wonder, following that story as closely as you did, the young lady's boyfriend's name was mentioned numerous times, first and last name?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
They kept it very, like, they kept everyone around, except for her dad. I don't remember reading any names.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like they didn't release any information about anyone. Oh no, the guy who they suspected, who everybody was bad mouthing at first, they had his name up all over the place. But I don't know. Her boyfriend's name may have been there. I don't remember. Certainly not reading his full name.
When Ranger Rayburn contacted you at the hotel,
Well, at the parking lot of the restaurant.
at the parking lot, the reason that your vehicle was found, of course, we were looking for a white Ford, and Ranger Rayburn got the highway patrol and the local police and all interested, and they were checking hotels and motels, and just over 24 hours after I assigned the case to him, a highway patrolman said, well, there's a car like that. Of course, they go to check. Once the traffic stop was made, and I don't want you to get hinked up here. I'm just going to try to get some questions answered in my mind. I don't want you to get nervous. We'll back up and slow down, okay? But once they made contact with you and got your name, Ranger Rayburn was in immediate contact with the FBI agent who called me, who in turn contacted the FBI agent in Alaska. And they sent people to your house immediately. And within just a very short period of time, they discovered the truck used in the abduction that was captured on video sitting in your driveway. And nobody else drives it, according to you. You see where this
If they knew what truck was used in the abduction, then they would have had me a long time ago.
They didn't have a license plate. They just had a video over the side of it. We didn't have a license plate of your car. We had a picture of the side of it. And the criminal analyst in Quantico, Virginia, looked at it and told the agents what type of car it was. They have a database. They look at the windshield shape and stuff. We just knew we were looking for a white Ford. What was the Fusion? Is that what it was? What was the car? The rent car?
Hell, I don't remember, escort or whatever.
Are you talking about, you just said the abduction?
No, I'm just telling you that we didn't know. I was just referring to the license plates. We didn't know the license plate on the car you were driving when you came through Texas.
Those analysts, those experts can take a grainy photo of surveillance footage of a vehicle, and they have means to find out the make, the model, the year. They look at the windshield placements and all that. And in fact, when I got the grainy photo from Shepherd, Texas, and New Mexico and Arizona of this white car that you were in, myself and this corporal that pulled you over, who's got like 20 years on as a trooper and has done nothing but ride up and down the road looking at cars, he looked at that grainy photo and he said, "That ain't a Ford. There ain't no way that's a Ford." And I had to call the FBI agent in Alaska, and they said, "Man, I sent it to Quantico. They did windshield comparison analysis. They did this, they did that, I guarantee you." And I put this bulletin out all over southeast Texas because you were coming northbound on 59. I said, "He's got to come through Diboll." I'm checking red light cameras. I'm checking video tapes from police cars parked on the side of the road running traffic. I mean, I'm looking hard, right? Before we found this car at the motel. And everybody was convinced it's not a Ford, but they're so good in Quantico that they told me not only that it was the kind of vehicle it was, they told me the make and the year model, and they were dead on accurate. And they're looking at grainy photos of this truck, and their one sits in the driveway that's just like what they say was used in the abduction.
I don't. If there's a lot of trucks like that in Anchorage, but there's not that many. If they were that sure, then they would have been talking to me a while ago.
They actually had a list of everyone.
Well, they've been taking their sweet time because, like I say, there's not that many. They never talked to me.
Well, they looked at yours early on and they dismissed it. Do you know why they dismissed it?
No. I'm not even sure if I believe what you're telling me right now.
Well, you know what the truth is.
You're damn right I do.
They told me they dismissed it because there were toolboxes on your truck.
There are toolboxes on my truck.
Yes, there are. And there weren't toolboxes on the truck used in the abduction. So they dismissed it. Kind of like the Lufkin police officer that pulled up and stopped the night before you were stopped, or early that morning. He took the little pad out of his pocket and looked at that car in that motel parking lot. He was writing down the license plate. There you are, right? You know why he dismissed it? He dismissed it because it had Texas tags. He says, "There's no way this thing has Texas tags. We're not looking for a car with Texas tags." He dismissed it. But here's a question I got for you, and only you can answer. Why didn't you leave? After the Lufkin policeman in uniform is writing down your license plate number, why didn't you leave right then? You told me this phone was making you nervous. You knew you made these ATM withdrawals.
Because honestly, there was a really hinky looking van sitting right next to my car with like temporary tags on it, and it had "for sale" or like scrawled all over the windows. And my brother and I were talking about that, and I was like, "What the heck was that about?" And I said, "He's an undercover guy looking for stolen vehicles." I said, "I'll bet that's what he..." It never entered my mind that he would be looking for me, because honestly, in my mind, all I had was a freaking debit card that didn't belong to me. And even though I was really paranoid that I would get caught eventually, whether it be from my license plate or from someone recognizing me from a camera, I didn't think they were going to have... It did, like, I did wonder, and then I was like, no way. I just barely used it. There's no way they're out trying to find my car already, or, I don't know. Good question.
Yeah.
Here's the question. Here's a good question. Help me understand this. The abduction, or at least parts of it, were captured on video as well, surveillance video. And the black mask, certain other clothing items.
I don't know. They never showed it, so.
Well, it's real easy I could show you because very identical, very similar, identical clothing items were in your car when they processed it this morning. Probably yesterday morning by now.
I don't know what you're talking about. You just said black mask. I didn't have a black mask.
In the car?
Not that I remember. Like I said, I had that gray.
Gray, maybe
Sure.
it was dark gray. Would you like to see the picture?
I don't know.
In your car? I mean, it's yours. You'll recognize it.
We'll go back to that deal. We've got
What pictures?
no.
You want to show me pictures of what was in my car?
Mm-hmm.
I know what was in my car.
And there wasn't a ski mask in there?
I don't remember there being a ski mask in there. No. Oh, I recognize that ski mask.
How do you recognize it?
I'm surprised that it was in there. I don't remember putting it in there.
How did paint get on there? And I know you're in construction, but do you get to paint much in Alaska?
Yeah, paint all the time.
How'd the paint get on there?
Probably when I was painting.
Well, this is a question I had. Ain't got nothing to do with the crime. It's got to do with construction. I got a question about it. If it's so cold, and only somebody from Alaska can answer it, if it's so cold that you got to wear one of these on your face,
I don't wear that on my face.
then how could you paint? How does the paint dry if it's so cold? Even if it's indoors, if it's so cold you got to wear one of these, how can you paint?
That's all I wear is those kind of hats for 6 months of the year. Not ski masks, but beanies. Like that one, when I wear it, I fold it up and wear it like a beanie. That's probably the warmest hat I have.
Well, let me tell you that Anchorage, through surveillance photos, Anchorage PD believes that this mask was worn by the person that abducted that girl.
Do you know how many people in Anchorage wear ski masks this time of year?
I didn't tell you the Texas Rangers believe it.
I know, that's why I'm kind of disappointed Anchorage PD isn't here.
But how many people driving through Texas in 80-degree weather have a cell phone that belongs to the victim, an ATM card that belongs to the victim's boyfriend, a ski mask in 80-degree weather, a gray hoodie that you don't remember how it got there or how it got packed to begin with.
Triple extra large.
But then you don't know how that got in your car, but you only rented the car a few days before.
No, that is mine. It came out of my suitcase. And it's no surprise that it came out of my suitcase. I mean,
Do you have any tattoos?
no.
Any scars identified?
Yeah.
Like what, like?
I have brands.
Whereabouts?
I have them all over. I have one on each arm, one on each side of my
You
chest.
say brands.
Brands, yes.
Is that a geographical term, or is it like literally a burn in?
Brand. Like
Can I-
a Texas cow.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I see it? What-
IZ
IZ for Izzy?
is.
Is?
That's a smiley face.
Any more?
Yeah, like I say, I got one on my back and two on my chest.
You ever seen that? Somebody took a lot of time to prepare this. This was sent with the ransom note. But what I do notice on here, and I understand that these things can be offensive, but if you notice on this photograph, how the corners go to near 90 degrees, except for this one, which is just above whoever's holding this girl by the hair, wearing a glove. That part of the photograph is torn off. Guess what part of that would be?
You have a brand.
It would be about where your brand is. That part of the photograph was obscured for some reason or another. Isn't that odd?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well,
How many people have tattoos on their arms?
I don't know. How many people have tattoos on their arms that have her cell phone, her boyfriend's ATM card, clothing items similar, if not the same, as the abductor had? Oh, we forgot to talk about your girlfriend's card being used in Alaska at an ATM with that card. You see how those stories, when you talk about, when I told you early on, somebody's going to tell your story for you, Israel. Somebody's going to tell it. It's best to tell your story yourself, or somebody else will do it without your help.
Israel, this is about you.
It's about
No,
you.
this has become about you guys and the story you want to tell me.
I'm not
You
trying
want
to
to show
tell-
me a bunch of crazy pictures, and for all I know, you cut the corner off, and you already know I have brands. You already asked me and took pictures of them all, and this could be a whole.
No, we didn't take pictures of it.
Well, somebody did, several people did. I don't know. I'm just saying you could know that at this point.
Yeah, and
Israel,
it
I
caused me to
have,
be suspicious.
Israel, I have no dog in this one. This case is not a Texas case. We've been asked to assist. I have no reason to sit here. I'm just telling you, here's the things that I see that are adding up, and not one of them standing alone is anything. It's like a piece of plywood. It's not a piece of plywood until you put all the layers together and bond them. This thing's out of hand. I don't believe what you've told me. I don't think you do either.
I don't.
Israel, that picture, I've been told by Anchorage, was on the back of this note that contains the ATM card number that was in your back
They
pocket
showed
at the time of the traffic stop. That picture was on the back of this note, okay? There are other things in that car that need an explanation.
What's the date on this paper? You know?
I got it written down here somewhere.
I just need to know that. Just curious. Do you know what the date is?
I think it was during the 2 days
14th?
that he disappeared from his girlfriend and his daughter. I think it was during
Shortly after the cruise.
those 2 days, yeah. The ransom note was found on the 24th of February. Now, he flew back to Anchorage on the 17th of February. And then the ransom note was found the 24th. We got a whole timeline.
Israel, sometimes things aren't what they appear. And things happen for different reasons than it appears they happen. But what I do know is that only one person, or maybe a couple of persons, actually know what happened. Remember when I told you I didn't have to come over here? I had my grandson with me. Something didn't make sense.
Well, it sounds like you got it all figured out, so I don't know why you had to come over and talk to me.
I'm beginning to see more and more, and I'm wanting to see, if you want to help yourself by telling me what happened, help me by telling me what happened. how we can see these things. Are we seeing something wrong, Israel? You know, I'm a police officer. I've been a police officer for almost 28 years. I don't travel with this much arsenal.
Neither do I.
But on a plane, you're carrying a gun.
But I wasn't on the plane carrying a gun.
You weren't?
No.
How did the gun get here?
It was in my checked luggage.
Okay, but
Unless
you
you carry guns on.
I know, but I don't carry it in my luggage, Israel.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Come on, help me understand that.
Look, I flew down here with those guns last time. They were supposed to stay here last time, and I decided not to leave them with my mom because of reasons I don't want to get into. So
When's the last time you were in Cleburne? You know where Cleburne, Texas is?
yeah,
Where's that?
that's outside of Dallas.
You got any friends or family up there?
No.
You ever been there?
Yeah, I just said yeah.
What do you go there for? If you don't have friends or family, why are you up there?
I'm not gonna get into that whole thing. That was on my last visit, and that was.
So did you bury an old dog that died, or did you bury something?
You want to know the God honest truth, what I was doing?
Yeah.
I really don't even.
I know what your family thinks you were doing there.
What do they think? You know, I'm not even gonna believe it. What do you know what my family thinks? You just said you don't even know me or them. So.
I haven't talked to them. I'm just going by what this ranger tells me, what the FBI tells me. Did you tell your family you had to go bury some guns?
Yeah, well, I'm glad they told you.
So did I make it up?
No.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. So you went and buried guns in Cleveland?
No, no.
That was just an excuse to get out of the house?
No, I was actually going to, but I didn't find any good spots.
What guns were you going to bury?
Those.
Why would you bury a gun?
It's a good way to store them till I go back to get them.
Give him
Sounds
a minute.
funny.
Give him a minute. I think you can do better on that.
Sounds funny, but it's true.
What denominations? I think in Humble, Texas, at 2:23 a.m. on the 12th of this month, you attempted to use the ATM card in Humble, Texas. It's just on the northeast side of Houston.
2:47 a.m. in Shepherd.
2:47 a.m. in
Yeah.
Shepherd, Texas. You successfully got $485.
Humble was a day or two before.
No, it was the same morning.
Was it the same morning?
I don't know. I would have to look at the paper.
Okay,
I'm not telling you you're wrong.
If I told you that card was used, and you said you used the card, $485. What denomination am I in?
480.
480.
480.
Because you see, 500 is the limit on an ATM card. And you said you probably used it a little, put it in too much the first time. So it probably came out in 20s?
Every ATM I've ever used, yeah.
What is that? What is that? Money? That was in your car.
Yeah, I already told you I'm not going to talk about that.
All right, don't talk about that.
This Ranger.
You know, not many banks use dial packs anymore, so that'll be easy enough. Most securities, corporate securities don't allow it. It endangers the employees and customers if it went off too early.
And rarely do I run across money that's moldy. The mold is growing on the money. There was mold. There's mold on this money. It's just weird. Would you agree it's weird to have moldy, stinky money? When they talk about dirty money, I don't think that's what they're talking about, but that was dirty money. And the rubber bands around the money, to tell you the truth, when I first saw it, I thought it was drug-related because there's those little small rubber bands. But then I found the same kind of rubber bands. I guess it's your daughter's toiletry kit. She probably uses them in her hair, am I right? So it's probably not drug money. It's just like the rubber bands in your daughter's toiletry kit that was in your car. But that's good, right? It's not related to drugs.
I already said I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah, you don't have to. But those are just questions that are begging answers. Now,
And a police scanner and a drill.
with a drill bit, not a screwdriver bit, but a drill bit, a 1/4-inch drill bit. Can you tell me what
Wait, let's back up just a minute. Let me get caught up here.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just looking. Where's the Ziploc baggie with the phone in it?
Well, that's in the gun case.
You got a picture?
Yeah, right here.
Close up. The
I
same
don't
kind of Ziploc baggie?
I don't have it with me, but
The same kind of Ziploc bag?
I think it's a smaller Ziploc bag here.
Israel, I think you want to tell her, or you the guy that's going to walk out of here.
No, I'm enjoying you show me pictures of my own things. Very entertaining.
Let me ask you this. You talked about we call it an SD card. Is that what you're talking about, the little chip that's in the phone? You talked about this SD card, and you made a comment that you put it into a DVD case that you had. Is it still there? Is that where you last saw
Why
it?
would it
or
not?
did you?
I don't know. Why would it not be there?
I mean, well, unless somebody took it out. Does anybody else have
The
access?
only people who've been messing with my stuff is you guys.
All right, so I got a picture of the DVD case in there, LT.
Is this what was sent to you today?
Yes. Let me get a picture of that DVD case. Everybody has secrets. Maybe that's why you were in Cleburne. I don't know. But is it that DVD case here?
Yep.
What were the numbers on the back of this paper?
Oh, come on. You guys should have figured that out by now.
Well, I'm not the lead on it, okay? Well, what are the numbers? I mean, I could guess. What are the numbers? There were 3 numbers, and I photographed them. There were only 3, written in blue ink, and I photographed. I didn't bring all 250 photographs with me. I just printed out a few. Can you tell me what the numbers are?
That's not anything you need to worry about, all right? It's
Okay.
embarrassing, but you don't need to worry about it.
Well, you know what?
Look, that was... Oh, boy. Those are phone numbers.
For what?
Escorts.
Really?
Really.
Like heterosexual escorts?
Why would you ask me that?
Because of that. That came from
Everybody's skeletons come out.
Well, that
No,
came-
they were transgender escorts in Shreveport. I found them online before I came down. I thought, before I found out my mom just joined a cult, I was going to leave my kid with her for a couple days and go just blow off some steam. And that does not mean I was going to do that. Never have.
That is not against the law.
Yeah, actually it is, but I'm just saying that doesn't, I'm not wanting to give you the impression this is something I do every time I get up.
Being transgender is not against the law.
Yeah, but hiring them is.
Well, depending on what state you're in.
Louisiana.
We're not vice cops, though.
I know. I'm just saying.
We investigate.
What am I saying? I don't really give a shit what you guys think about me at this point because it's pretty clear what you already think. So yeah, I guess I don't care if you think that too. But whatever. It is what it is.
What would happen if you received this,
I'm not going to look at that.
and that was your daughter?
I'm not going to look at that again. I already
What would you
told
do? How would you feel?
that.
Would you want the Anchorage, Alaska police to contact the Texas Rangers to help them solve this case? Would you want them to do everything they could to get your daughter back? Would you?
Even if she were already dead, they still want her back. And I know you can understand that. It's very important.
And I already talked to you, not just you, but I talked to the Anchorage.
Well, I know, and Anchorage couldn't just live in Texas until you decided to talk.
I'm not going to live in
I mean,
Texas.
they had to go back to Anchorage. And believe me, brother, that they wanted to be here tonight to talk to you, but they're in Anchorage.
Well, if they want to talk to me, then I guess they need to get me back to Anchorage because I'm tired of Texas.
I understand.
I'm not talking to you guys anymore. It's pretty clear you don't know. I mean, you know what you read in the pictures and reports, and I mean, you basically know what they feed you and what you found in my car, and that's it. And I've given you information tonight. I did talk to you. I'm just not going to talk to you about anything in Anchorage because you're not in Anchorage. I shouldn't have even told you, I don't know, whatever.
Israel, you know that in Texas state law and United States law, you don't have to have a body to be charged.
I know that.
But I know this. I've been doing law enforcement work a long time, as I told you earlier. And if you didn't want to tell us, you'd have told us to pound sand up our butt a long time ago. I don't have any opinion on you based on this. You said that a moment ago. That's not what I'm here for. You do what you do because you believe you need to do it for whatever reason. I don't care. That's not my job to judge you. But the fact is a fact that I would have had sand driven off the back of my butt a long time ago if you didn't want to tell what you want to tell.
I did want to tell you something, and I told you that.
Well, that was a long time ago.
No, it was just a few minutes ago.
What was that? I thought that you wanted to tell us
You
about
wanted
the
the whole
18.
timeline from the time I got to Vegas,
That was over an hour ago.
and you've been doing all the talking since.
We've offered you the opportunity, and you've communicated back and forth.
Mostly, I've just been saying I don't want to talk about that. Like, the more pictures you pull out and the more things you tell me is like, I know I mean, I think I know what you're trying to do. So I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff.
Why not?
Because first of all, you don't, I'm not even going to answer that because I'm already pissed
Israel,
about some other stuff.
do you want to talk anymore at all, or are you terminating the interview at this point?
No, I think we're done. I think I'm done talking.
Well, I appreciate your time, Mr. McElroy. And I'm serious. I'm not casting judgment on you. And I think that at some point in time, he'll probably want to talk. And if he does, you know how to get a hold of us. And we'll make the trip over again.
Well, the procedure is that he's not going to be here for very much longer, so it probably won't be an issue that y'all will have to deal with at that point. He will have appointed counsel up there, so it's going to be somebody else's his deal at that point. So. But I'm still here if you need me for anything, Israel, anything at all. You know how to get a hold of me, and I'm willing to do whatever you need me to do.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being here tonight.
Sure.
If you change your mind, you're going to have to contact your attorney, okay, and ask for us. And if there's something you want to say
Just make sure you include it.
concerning this individual, and you only will say it to Anchorage, then we'll do our best to make arrangements. That's all we can do, okay? It's what time you got? 12:38 a.m. on 3/18/2012. This concludes the interview.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to support me, make sure you subscribe to Crime Culture Media at crimecult.com. My name is Victoria Evans. Be safe out there.